as well as, of course, the race commentary for the 2023 Canadian Grand Prix. Now, I just want to say a couple of things before we start. One, we are in the middle of a thunderstorm right now, so it's possible that at some point during the race or at some point mid-stream, I might have a power cut. So the stream may end, and I might lose the race feed as well. Hopefully, neither of those events occur, but it is possible that one of those two things, or both of them, could happen. So, apologies in advance if that does happen. If the stream does get cut short randomly, that's what's happened. But yeah, AstCa news this week. Frankly, there hasn't been too much this week, to be honest. Also, yeah, if you hear the thunder, that's what that is. And if you hear a slight whirring noise, that is the fan that I've got on, because it is incredibly warm right now. So, yeah, sorry in advance. But yeah, AstCa news. Frankly, not too much to go on this week. Of course, Star Trek Strange New Worlds has returned. Absolutely phenomenal first episode, in my opinion. I know that some people haven't liked it very much, which is a shame, but, you know, with Season 1 setting such a high bar, it's going to be very hard to try and replicate that going forward. Of course, as I said in my last Star Trek video, Commander Pelia seems to be a ton of fun. Cannot wait to see more of her. And this week as well, slightly delving into F1 stuff, the old W series, the old women's racing series, has now gone into administration, so that's a shame to see. However, you guys know my thoughts on that saga. Of course, in my opinion, if you want to get women into Formula 1, put them in the categories that are already there. Formula 2, Formula 3. Instead of creating a series just for women, which isolates them, if anything, put them in a series that already exists, which is getting drivers into F1. It's not hard. Just put them in Formula 2, in Formula 3, because the now F1 Academy teams, they're all in Formula 2 and Formula 3 anyway, so just get them into the F2 and F3 teams, which has a better chance of getting into F1. But that's just my 2 cents on that, because it's been driving me mad for a while that I don't know why they've done that, to be honest, but hey, we move, I guess. But yeah, the W series has gone into administration, which is sad to see because it was a good series. Of course, Jamie Chadwick went 3 for 3 in terms of the W Series championships, because there was only 3 and she won all 3 of them, which was mighty impressive. And of course, she is now racing in the Indy Next series, which is the IndyCar equivalent to Formula 2. Now, as I said moments ago, thunderstorm is occurring right now. You can probably hear it in the background. There's a chance the stream might disappear. If it does, I apologise profusely, but there's literally nothing I can do about it. It's the weather. It happens, and there's been thunderstorms throughout the week as well, so I'm not too surprised there's one happening right now. Bit of a shame, but oh well. I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, as for other AstCa news stuff this week, of course, we had the reveal of Star Trek Infinite on Friday, which you guys know I'm curious about at the very least. I won't be able to play it, of course, because it is a PC-only game, and it's a real-time strategy, which I'm not particularly into as a franchise. So I have to wait and see how that goes. Again, if it does get a console port someday, I might play it, but as of now, I'm not overly interested. So, yeah, it looks good at the very least for those who do play real-time strategies on PC. So, if you have both the requirements to play that, I would recommend giving it a go, because it does look quite good. Anyway, we are now about 25 minutes away from the race start, which does seem like an absolute age away. So I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that's happened over the weekend in the lead up to the race. Of course, Practice 1 was cut short because of a CCTV issue at the track, which was a massive shame. I was really sad to see that, but of course that did extend Practice 2, which didn't go particularly well either, because there was a bunch of red flags. So that wasn't great. Qualifying yesterday was interesting, with the absolute deluge of rain. Like, there was loads. And of course, there was several penalties handed out, which are now obviously going to affect the grid. Nico Hülkenberg qualified in P2. He is now P5. Carlos Sainz qualified P8 and is now P11. Behind his Ferrari teammate, Charles Leclerc, who didn't even make it out of qualifying session 1. Ouch! Wait, no, that's not... No, yes, no. He didn't make it out of qualifying session 2, which... Ouch. That's painful. But yeah, not too much else has happened this week, of course. We do have this alternate commentary with Daniel Ricciardo and Will Arnett, and for those of you who can't quite place him, he was Lego Batman in the Lego Batman movie, and the 2 Lego movies, so that's going to be quite fun to watch. I believe it's being broadcast on ESPN, but Sky Sports are kind of stealing it, basically, with permission. So yeah, they're showing it on Sky Sports as well as ESPN. But to watch it on Sky, you've got to have the Sky F1 app or Red Button it. So it isn't the main commentary. That'll still be David Croft, and I'm not sure who's in the commentary box with him. But of course, you've also got me. You got your boy. This man right here. So, yeah. You've got a few ways to watch this race. A few ways to listen along to commentary, so... take your pick, I suppose. But yeah, I've got to say, absolutely dominant display from Max again in qualifying. Did have quite a moment in qualifying 3, and I thought he was actually going to put it in the wall, because he did get really out of shape coming out of turn 1, so I can't lie, I did think his qualifying was going to be over quite quickly, but somehow, Max managed to save it. And, of course, if he wins today, he will equal Ayrton Senna's win record of 41 wins, which of course we know Michael Schumacher hit back in the early 2000s, and of course apart from finding out that, he did burst into tears in the post-race interview, and so did Mika Hakkinen. But yeah, of course, that'll be a very momentous occasion for Max to achieve. If he achieves that today, he's bound to achieve it at some point in his career. If not today, it's more than likely going to be Austria next time out. So, have to wait and see. But yeah, Ferrari have had a bit of a disaster in the strategies again. Yeah, Charles Leclerc was determined that it was time to go on to the soft tyres, but Ferrari said no, and then he ended up getting knocked out of Q2. Oh, come on. Okay, stream's going a bit iffy here, guys. I'll keep going for as long as I can. Anyway, as I was saying, Mercedes haven't been too confident this weekend, although they have now secured a pretty solid second row lockout for the grid, thanks to Hülkenberg's penalty, which makes it Max Verstappen on pole, Fernando Alonso in second, Lewis Hamilton third, and George Russell fourth, with Nico Hülkenberg down in fifth. So for Mercedes, it's a second row lockout, which is a very good result for them this season. Of course, that team is quite used to front row lockouts, but they haven't obviously achieved one for a very long time now. In fact, the last one would have probably been 2021. So maybe they'll get back to those winning ways at some point. Have to wait and see. Yeah, we're about 20 minutes away from the race start now. Hopefully the stream will be able to maintain to the start of the race and throughout it. I'm hoping and praying, but apologies again if it can't. Like, this thunderstorm has not been timed very well by the universe. But hopefully it doesn't affect everything too bad. Because I know last night's was quite bad. There was a lot of thunder and a lot of rain. Not so much on the lightning end, but there was a lot of thunder and a lot of rain. So I'm hoping that this holds out quite well tonight. But yeah, I think we've got a pretty good race ahead of us. Of course, Alex Albon securing P9 thanks to Carlos Sainz's grid penalty. He was P10, but Carlos Sainz being dropped down to 11th has put him up a space. So I think Alex Albon and the Williams team will be very happy about that. As you guys know, I've been unintentionally rooting for Williams the whole season. Like, I think they've got a fairly decent car under them now, so they could get a few points in. Again, today could be one of those days. Have to wait and see, I suppose. Yeah, I've been unintentionally rooting for those guys for the whole season. And I don't know why. I've never been that much of a Williams fan, but it's just one of those teams that you want to see do well because it's Williams. It's a historic team, of course. They lost their founder and team principal back at the end of 2021, Sir Frank Williams. And now James Vowles, the new team principal, is only the third in the team's history. Yeah, we had Sir Frank Williams, and then it was Jost Capto in 21 and 22, and now it's James Vowles, who of course was the old technical director. No, that's not right. I can't remember what his role was at Mercedes, but he was very high up, but he used to work for Mercedes for a very long time. In fact, I think it was about 20 years he was there. So, to put that in perspective, he was at that team when it was still called Honda. Correction. He was still there when it was called BAR Honda. And was there throughout the Honda years, the Braun GP season, and then, of course, Mercedes until the end of last season. And, of course, the tyre bids are now cut off. Like, all the bids are in, so it is now Pirelli versus Bridgestone. So, it's literally a two-way fight for the 2026-27 tyre manufacturer role for Formula 1. And it does look as if it'll be one of the two. It won't be both of them like the old Michelin Bridgestone days, because that, of course, caused a lot of issues throughout those years. The most notable being Indianapolis 2005, which killed F1 in America for a very long time. And I know for a fact F1 is not going to want that to happen twice. Because, of course, they've got it really good in America now. Like, F1 in America now is probably more popular than it's ever been in that country. So, I really don't think F1 wants to screw with that now. So, it will definitely be either Bridgestone or Pirelli in 26-27. I'm kind of hoping for Bridgestone, because I've never been a big fan of Pirelli. Like, they've been good tyres, obviously, but I don't know. I think we're probably due for a change at this point, because they do change at roughly... Well, in the past, the tyre supplier has changed roughly every 10-15 years. And what do you know? Pirelli's been the F1 supplier since 2011, so they've been here for 12 years now, so we're probably due a change. If we don't get one, I won't be too mad, but it is nice to see that it isn't going to be just Pirelli bidding for the 2026-2027 tyre supplier role for F1. And of course, all the feeder series, like, that will filter down to Formula 2, Formula 3, and whatever other categories they support. So, it'd be interesting to see a new tyre supplier on the scene, or rather a returning tyre supplier, because of course, Bridgestone were in F1 for quite a long time, and were around obviously quite a long time ago, of course. They were around when the V8 engines were still around, so, and actually, the end of this season will have marked 10 years since the last V8 race. So that's quite interesting, yeah. This is actually now tied longest F1 engine era, because the longest before this was the V10 era, which lasted from 1995 to 2005. Now, the V6 era is going from 2014 to now, so next year the V6 era will have been around as long as the V10 era, and then it'll probably go beyond. So very soon, in just over a year's time, the V6 era could be the longest era in F1. Because before the V10 era, it was kind of a free-for-all. You could kind of put whatever you wanted in the engine. You could make it a V12, a V10, a V8, a turbo V6, which, of course, famously the McLaren MP44 did, which was the most dominant car in F1 history, and still is, unless the RB19 somehow manages to win every race this season, which, at the moment, is looking to be possible. Of course, you can't account for reliability, which statistically is likely to pop up eventually. Like, there has to be at some point in the season when the Red Bulls are going to have an engine failure. It's very statistically unlikely that that won't happen, so the MP44 may stay on its perch as the most dominant car in Formula One history. Let's give you guys a bit of a perspective on that. In 1988, it was a 16-race season, and between the two drivers of Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, that car won 15 of those 16 races, conceding only a single victory to Ferrari. So, the RB19 could potentially knock that car off its perch that's been around for a very long time. But again, reliability has to be a factor eventually, so it may succeed the MP44, it may not. Time will tell. But yeah, I really can't wait to see this race because, of course, it's been all wet up until now. Like, the track has been soaked for the last 2 days, but now it's bone dry. So this race is going to be incredibly interesting to see how all these cars handle the dry weather now, because, of course, up until now, they've all had wet weather setups on the downforce, the suspension, and everything. Like, even the tyres have been wet weather. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these cars now adapt to the warmer weather. Of course, the Mercedes was mostly struggling with the intermediate tyres because the suspension's really nice and soft on the tyres, which the intermediates do not. They need to be quite heavy suspension so that the tyres can actually warm up. So maybe the Mercedes could be back in the fight quite firmly now. Because with the soft suspension, the tyres weren't warming up, the intermediate, because they do require heavy suspension to get grip into them. So maybe now the Mercedes could be, maybe not in the contention for the win, but maybe for a good podium, maybe a double podium like last time out in Spain. But we'll just have to wait and see, because, again, up until now, it's been a wet race weekend. But this is going to be a dry race, most likely. There's no rain forecast for Montreal at the moment, as far as I'm aware. Although, forecasts can never be 100% accurate. There could always be something that throws a spanner in the works. So maybe we could get some rain, but as of now, there doesn't seem to be any forecast for the race. So this is most likely going to be a dry race. So as I said, have to wait and see how that pans out. But right now, this race is going to be very weird. It's not going to be at all what we've been expecting, in the slightest. So anyway, I'll be tuning in just a minute to get ready for the race. We are now just over 10 minutes to go, so the formation lap will be in just a few minutes now. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one as always. Canada's always a fun track. Of course, it's now 12 years since Jenson Button got his really wet weather win on this very track. Like, that day in 2011, seriously, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the race at some point. It's on F1 TV. Would definitely recommend giving it a watch, because it was a damn good race. Like, even I've rewatched it on F1 TV, and it was really good. Really, really wet conditions. Frankly, in this day and age, it would have been red flagged. In fact, it was red flagged briefly, but it eventually did resume. But now it would have been red flagged and probably not restarted. So would definitely recommend checking out. It was very chaotic. Of course, it was slap bang in the middle of Sebastian Vettel's pure era of dominance. Speaking of him, yes, I forgot about this. Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo on the 29th of September will be taking out the RB7 around the Nürburgring. Yep, Sebastian Vettel, for the first time in just over 6 months, well, by then 9 months, will be behind the wheel of a Formula One car once again, and it is one of his championship winners. In fact, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, it was the 2011 car that drove that day at Canada. So, would definitely recommend giving that a watch. I know I will be. Of course, it's amazing to see Seb back in a Formula One car, let alone one of his old championship-winning Red Bulls, because you have to admit, those Red Bulls were built so different. They were insane. They were probably some of the most dominant F1 cars in the history of the sport, of course. not counting the MP44, and now the RB19. But they were just amazing pieces of machinery. Of course, designed and built by Adrian Newey, who is still doing said job now. And actually, I want to bring up something completely kind of off topic. This year is actually going to be the 50th year that F1's had a safety car. Yeah, kind of weird to think about that they've only had one for the last 50 years, even though they've been going since 1950. So that means for 23 years in F1, there was no safety car. Anyway, I'm now just going to tune into the race to get ready for the start. Ugh. And I'm back. Oh, right, we're just about 8-ish minutes away from the race start now, so all the drivers are getting ready to get into their cars and get ready for the formation lap, so yeah, I think this is going to be a good race, guys. I have to be completely honest. But I think there's going to be, again, it's going to be very much a chaotic race because, well, as I've said, until now, it's been a wet weekend. It's been absolutely pouring with rain in Canada, so I'm not sure how this is going to go. It's going to be a very interesting race, to say the least. So, we'll have to wait and see, really. Well, as I always ask, who do we think's going to win today? Do we think it'll be win 41 for Max Verstappen? Will it be a first win for Lewis Hamilton, potentially, this season? Will it be a Fernando Alonso win for the first time in a decade? It could be a number of possibilities for the win today. Do I think Max Verstappen's the most likely? Yes. However, could someone else come out and surprise us? Also yes. This is Formula 1 after all, and nothing by any stretch of the imagination is guaranteed. So, I think we're just going to have to keep an eye on this race like a bunch of hawks, because who knows what could happen. I know this is a 70-lap race, and 1 minute 13 lap record, so I reckon this race should take about, again, just under an hour and a half, like most of the races have been this season again. That's not accounting for stuff like red flags, yellow flags, safety cars, virtual safety cars, that sort of stuff. So, I reckon just under an hour and a half, so in theory this race should be finished definitely by 9 PM UK time, so in just over 2 hours from now, actually. But as I've said, the stream hopefully will be able to hold up until that time, but I can't guarantee it, considering that there is a thunderstorm going on in Wales right now. In fact, it's literally right over my head, so hopefully I'll be able to keep streaming for you guys, and hopefully I'll be able to keep the signal of the race to keep you guys updated on what's happening. Unfortunately, I can't guarantee that, but I'm hoping and I'm praying. But if I can't, I apologise profusely, and I'll figure something out. I may do a video on the race for tomorrow. Well, whatever's left of the race, if I do have to disappear. But I'll let you guys know. I'm hoping I'll be able to stick around for the whole thing, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay. Right, we're about 5 minutes away from the race start now, so we should get the grid order and the track information any minute now, as well as the tyre compounds. Speaking of which, I actually already know them. This weekend they're going to be using the C5, C4, and C3 tyres, which are the hardest tyres in the Pirelli range, if I remember correctly. So they are the top 3 hardest tyres of the whole range. So that's obviously going to be... well, it makes a lot of sense, really, because Canada is quite a gentle track on the tyres, so they need the hardest tyres they can get. As I said yesterday in qualifying, they were all struggling to get grip into the tyres, so I think the hardest dry... I don't think we're going to be needing the intermediates or the wets today. Like, it is looking incredibly dry out there right now. Ugh. Now we're just seeing moments from Canadian Grand Prix gone by, including Robert Kubica's terrifying crash back in 2012. Oh, no, it wasn't 2012. It was 2009. I can't remember, to be honest with you guys. I know it's been a very long time since that crash, but I just don't remember the exact year. But I know that obviously did cause Robert Kubica a lot of damage. It of course took him out of racing for a very long time. Anyway, now we have the F1 intro, so we're getting ready to go. I just hope the stream holds out. But I'm sure it'll be fine. Like, it does seem to be quietening down out there, so I should be fine now, hopefully. And hopefully I won't have a mad coughing fit at the start of the race like I did last time in Spain. I still don't know what happened there. I've got no idea. None at all. But yeah, hopefully I should be fine tonight. Nothing should go wrong. Right. Now for the race information. And of course, yes, happy Father's Day to all the fathers across the world. And this is the 52nd Canadian Grand Prix. For you, just a little bit of a fun fact for you all. Okay, and we have a 4.361 kilometre track distance, or 2.710 miles, 70 laps, 14 turns, and top speed 342.7 kilometres an hour, or 212.9 miles an hour. But yeah, not a very long race, not a very long track either, really. Comparison to the rest of the calendar, anyway. Okay, and in a moment we're just having a bit of a compilation of stuff that's happened on each turn throughout the years at the moment. But in a moment we should have the grid order for today. I vaguely remember it. Yep. Oh, it's the softest compounds in the Pirelli range, my bad. The hardest are the C2, C1 and C0 tyres. So the C5, 4 and 3s are the softest tyres. Right, okay. Whoops. Okay, and here is the starting grid for you guys. Going from 20th to 1st, we have Zhou Guanyu and Yuki Tsunoda in 19th after a grid penalty. Logan Sargent in 18th and Nick De Vries in 17th. And then Lance Stroll in 16th thanks to another penalty. And Pierre Gasly down in 15th. Next we have Valtteri Bottas in 14th and Kevin Magnussen in 13th. And then we have Sergio Perez in 12th and Carlos Sainz in 11th with another grid penalty. Then we have Charles Leclerc in 10th and Alex Albon in 9th. Next we have Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, that's all McLaren 4th row. And then we have Esteban Ocon in 6th and Nico Hülkenberg in 5th, thanks to yet another grid penalty. Next we have Lewis Hamilton and George Russell in 3rd and 4th, respectively. And lastly we have Fernando Alonso in 2nd and Max Verstappen in P1 on pole position. Ugh. And if Red Bull win today, it will be their 100th race victory in Formula 1. So, lots of pressure on Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez today. Especially on Max Verstappen, I'd imagine. Like, of course, Sergio Perez is down in 12th. But, of course, he knows how to get his car through the grid. So, don't count out Sergio Perez just because he's not in the points positions right now. Like, knowing Perez, that could all change very quickly and very easily. Okay, now we have the drivers getting ready to get going for the formation lap in their cars. Okay, there's Max Verstappen putting his visor down, getting ready to go. Okay, I'm just altering the tripod around a little bit. There we go. Just making sure I'm even. Okay. The formation lap should be beginning any moment now. Like that. Okay. Right, the top 11 are all on mediums. Perez, Magnussen, and Bottas are on the hards. Gasly's on the softs, and the bottom 5 are on mediums as well. So, a bit of a mix-up there. The strategies are medium 20 laps, hard 24 laps, and hard 26 laps. Or we have the one-stop strategy with hard for 47 laps and mediums for the remaining. So, those are two very interesting strategies. As for which is quicker, I would probably guess the hard to medium strategy, the second one. So, maybe, I don't know. Have to wait and see, I suppose, really. But yeah, I suspect this race will take about roughly an hour and a half, and we have a new fastest pit stop of the season, and it goes to Red Bull with a 2.07 seconds in Spain. So they have finally knocked Ferrari off their perch, which they held since the beginning of the season. So that's a very impressive record there for Ferrari. Yeah, I just thought that was a pretty interesting thing for you guys to know. Of course, the attendance across the weekend at the track has been 345,000 people across the weekend, which is absolutely insane, frankly. Okay, and here comes Fernando Alonso, Max Verstappen onto the grid, ready for the start of the race. Okay, and there's Charles Leclerc getting ready to line up into his grid slot. So, at least half of the grid is now ready to form up. Okay. And there's Nico Hülkenberg slotted into 5th. And here comes the Alfa Romeo of Zhou Guanyu, who of course is lining up last. So, any moment now will be underway for the 2023 Canadian Grand Prix. There's Sergio Perez and his Red Bull in 12th. There's the safety car lining up behind the rest of the grid. Well, it's the medical car, actually. And here we are, 5 red lights are on, and they're off for the 2023 Canadian Grand Prix. And that was an amazing getaway from Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. In fact, Lewis Hamilton is already up into 2nd place, completely blitzing the Aston Martin. And here comes George Russell, also overtaking the Aston Martin, or getting ready to at the very least. Oh, never mind, it's George Russell behind Fernando Alonso, but Lewis Hamilton kind of caught Fernando Alonso napping there. Like, that was a phenomenal getaway there from the Mercedes driver. Wow, that was immense. Wow, okay. Okay, first few corners have gone down pretty well, nothing's gone wrong. Oh, and here comes the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, completely blitzing the Red Bull of Sergio Perez there. Oh, but Perez pulls the switch back. But Leclerc, nope, Perez is back in front, but here comes Charles Leclerc again to try and retake that place. but doesn't quite get the job done. That was a very hectic first few corners there. My God. Woof! And Leclerc now, seemingly at the moment, has the fastest lap, even though we're only on lap 1. Oh! And there goes the AstCa Magnussen into a wall. He's managed to get out of it. Okay, now we're on to lap 2. Whoa, that was an insane lap 1. Wow. Yep, okay, that was mental. Whew. Okay, it would appear at the moment, Charles Leclerc has managed to get both, oh no, it was Carlos Sainz, I think, trying to get in front of Sergio Perez, and he has succeeded. That was kind of nuts, frankly. Okay, now Lewis Hamilton has a second gap to Max Verstappen, and then, of course, if he manages to maintain that gap coming into lap 3, he will be able to activate DRS on the world champion and potentially try and overtake on the Red Bull. But yeah, that was a crazy getaway there from Lewis Hamilton at the start. Completely, frankly, blitzing Fernando Alonso on the race start. He completely caught the Aston Martin napping. That was mental. Wow. Okay, now we're on to lap 3, so DRS will now be active. Okay, and that's Max Verstappen on the fastest lap of the 1 minute 18.075 seconds. Yeah, that was a phenomenal getaway there from Lewis Hamilton, but Fernando Alonso got totally caught out. That was mad. Whew. Okay, now seeing the start from Sergio Perez's view. Okay. That was probably one of the most phenomenal race starts I've seen for a very long time. Like, that was nuts, in my personal opinion. Yep, now goes Kevin Magnussen off, nearly down the pit lane, but thankfully managed to get himself back onto the track. He got pushed wide from the Perez Carlos Sainz battle. Yeah, wow. Okay. Okay then. That was just an absolutely mental race start. And Max Verstappen is still only a second ahead of Lewis Hamilton, so we'll have to keep an eye on how this battle progresses throughout the race. If it lasts much longer, we'll have to wait and see. But we're now on to lap 4, so usually by now Max Verstappen has pulled out quite the gap at this point in the race, but we'll have to wait and see. Oh, George Russell radio. Okay. George Russell's just asking for feedback on his strategy for the race so far. And Fernando Alonso seems to have smacked the wall a bit on turn 4, which is a bit of a shame for him. And there's Max Verstappen again on the fastest lap, 1 minute 17.203 seconds this time. So he's bringing the lap times down quite quickly already. Now we're on to lap 5. And the reaction time between Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso on the race start was Hamilton with a 0.25 second reaction time, and Fernando Alonso with a 0.26 second reaction time. So there was only a tenth of a second in their reaction times, but obviously that tenth of a second cost Fernando Alonso P2. Well, no, hundredth of a second actually. So that was mental. That was an absolutely insane race start. I've never seen anything quite like it, really. And he did have a little look on the outside, on the inside there, but didn't quite decide to go for the move that time. Okay, now on to lap 6, the race. Okay, so we're just over 10 minutes into this race now, and hopefully this stream is able to hold out throughout the race. Again, if not, I will record a video tomorrow on what we did miss throughout the race. Again, hopefully I'm able to stay on for a good while, but if not, I'll just record a video about what happened throughout the rest of the race, provided I do actually miss some, which hopefully I won't. It would be a very big shame to miss some of this, because I've got a feeling this is going to be a good one. Of course, Lewis Hamilton is now only 2 seconds behind Max Verstappen, so he's keeping up quite well with the Red Bull there. Like, he is, he's maintaining a good gap. Of course, he has got Fernando Alonso to fend off, so he is probably having to slow down a bit to keep Fernando Alonso behind him. But we'll have to wait and see how that all occurs. Of course, we're on to lap 7 now. Oh, Verstappen radio. Okay, Max Verstappen is worried about the vulnerability of the tyres. Ooh. Okay, 1 second, guys. There we go. Okay. Yeah, Max Verstappen is worried about the tyres at the moment. He said they're feeling a bit more vulnerable than they did in practice too, so I'm not sure what he means by that, but I'm assuming he means they're feeling a bit more, there's a bit more wear. Right. Logan Sargeant seemingly is out of the race. There seems to be an engine problem, so this is probably the end of Logan Sargeant's race, unfortunately. We'll have to wait and see until we get a feed of what's happening with him. Okay, now on to lap 8, and it's a virtual safety car now. So now Max Verstappen is essentially the safety car now, and they're all slowing right down. Oh, and there's a little bit of snow. Okay. Yeah, so that gap that Max Verstappen has built up will start to come down now, thanks to him being basically the safety car at this point. But as for what happened there with Logan Sargeant, I don't know. Oh, and that's the virtual safety car already ending. Oh, and here is what happened to Logan Sargeant now. His engine just straight up cut out, it seems. That's a very big shame for the young American driver there. I'm actually kind of gutted to see that. There is a little bit of smoke coming out there. Okay. Yeah, that's the end of the virtual safety car, and now Max Verstappen is building up a bit of a gap to Lewis Hamilton, but of course, Lewis Hamilton is still having to defend against Fernando Alonso, who's only 0.7 seconds behind him, so... Oh, and DRS is now re-enabled onto lap 9. Okay. Okay, I would love to point out, guys, we're already nearly 1/7 of the way through this race, and we've barely been going 15 minutes. Yeah, this race is going to be over quite quickly, I'd imagine. Okay. Verstappen still holds the fastest lap by, I'm going to imagine, quite a bit. I'm not sure of his fastest lap time now, but I know last time I checked it was a 1 minute 17, so he's obviously started to reduce the lap times quite drastically. Oh, and here comes George Russell on the back of Fernando Alonso, so this could be a bit of a three-way battle here for second between Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, and Lewis's teammate, George Russell. We'll have to wait and see. There's a bit of a concertina effect going on here, so Max Verstappen is obviously building up quite a gap, while those three are obviously slowing each other down. So we'll have to wait and see how this all goes. Okay. Yep, so that is Logan Sargent now officially out of the race, which is a massive shame. But thankfully didn't cause too much disruption to the race itself. Now we're on to lap 10, so we are now 1/7 through this race already. We've been going just over 15 minutes. Oh, now we're on to lap 11. And it seems that Stroll has overtaken Gasly. And Lewis Hamilton's already complaining that his medium tyres are now already extremely hot, so he may end up coming in soon for a different set of tyres. I don't know what, but it looks as if he is going to come in for a completely different set at some point. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, so halfway through this race will obviously be lap 35. So to be honest, we probably won't be too long getting to that point, really. As usual, I will probably stay on till the podium ceremony, and then once the national anthems are done and the champagne starts to fly, that's probably when I'll be signing off for this one. Just to give you guys a bit of advanced warning again. Hopefully I'll be able to stay on until that point, because thunderstorm doesn't seem to be too bad at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see. Oh, Verstappen radio. Oh, and Verstappen thinks he's hit a bird. Oh dear. That's not good at all. Oh, there's Nico Hülkenberg into the pits, and the current medium tyre runners, their pit window is from lap 16 to 24, which is in 4 laps' time. And now it's Charles Leclerc versus Lando Norris for P7. And that's Nico Hülkenberg with a 15-second pit stop. No, sorry, a 3.2-second pit stop. And Nick De Vries with a 3.8-second pit stop. And Lance Stroll with a 2.4-second pit stop. Okay, that was a bit mental to try and keep track of there. Okay. Oh. And there's George Russell with some major damage, it seems. He's punctured his right rear tyre, seemingly by hitting a wall. And we're getting a full-blown safety car now. And George Russell has lost half of his front wing. Ooh, that may be the end of that Mercedes' race. Oh dear. Okay, and here comes Max Verstappen into the pits. And I'm guessing he's putting on, a set of hard tyres. Okay. Ouch. So that's probably the end of George Russell's race. 2.3-second stop there for Verstappen. A 3.2 for Lewis Hamilton. And a 2.3 for Fernando Alonso. But, oof. Okay. And Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton, upon coming out of their pit stalls, nearly crashed into each other. Oh God. Okay, so we've got a full-blown safety car now. How long that'll last, I don't know. I suppose it depends really on how long it takes George Russell to get to the pits. Speaking of George Russell, here is what happened to him. He just hit into a wall, lost the rear briefly, and hit the wall on one of the chicanes. Yep. Oh. Okay, there could be... Oh, Hamilton radio. Oh, that was a very close call between Alonso and Hamilton there. Okay, and there's the Mercedes of George Russell seemingly getting new tyres and getting ready to go back out. Or is it? And George Russell is re-entering the race. So, in theory, very soon, the safety car should be over. Again, all they've got to do, really, is pick up the debris from George Russell's crash. Okay, so that's George Russell back into the race. And, yep, there's now an investigation into Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton's unsafe release incident in the pits. Okay. And there's another unsafe release between Alex Albon and Lando Norris there. Oof. Okay. Okay, the safety car is still out. So I'm guessing there's still some debris on the track. Okay, George Russell radio. Okay, Mercedes is just asking for some feedback on the car after his crash, so it seems to be okay. Oh, Hamilton radio. Okay, and it looks as if Lewis Hamilton has picked up some damage, also from George Russell's accident. Okay. Yep, and this weekend marks the 50th anniversary of the safety car, which was introduced actually in the 1973 Canadian Grand Prix. Literally 50 years on. Wow, okay. Okay, I'm not sure how much longer the safety car is going to be going on for. Hopefully not too long, but obviously it'll go on for as long as it needs to. So the the race stewards can pick up all the debris from the George Russell incident, so hopefully it won't be on too much, don't be going for too much longer, but obviously it will have to go on for as long as it obviously needs to. Oh, Leclerc radio. Okay. Ferrari are expecting the cars in front of them to struggle initially on the tyres, so have to wait and see how that holds out. So Leclerc could be in a position to pick up a few places once this safety car goes back in to the pits. Okay, lap 16. Still under the safety car, so hopefully we will get back to racing pretty soon. Of course, this will add on to the race time a little bit. Hopefully not too much, but it will obviously add on a little bit because the cars are going much slower now, obviously. Oh, and the safety car is ending. So it should be at the end of the next lap. So beginning of lap 18, we should be going again. Oh, the end of this lap. So, okay. Okay, so at the beginning of lap 17, we'll be back to racing. Oh, and there's now another incident involving Valtteri Bottas and Kevin Magnussen in the pit lane. Okay. What happened there? I don't know because I didn't see that. Okay, and now we're back to green flag conditions. So any moment now, Max Verstappen will probably shoot off into the distance with Lewis Hamilton chasing him like a dog. We'll wait and see. And Fernando Alonso is also right behind Lewis Hamilton, so this could be a very interesting three-way battle for the lead once the race restarts. Speaking of which, there it goes. And Max Verstappen completely rips away from Lewis Hamilton. That was immense. Okay. Okay. Okay, now it's Carlos. No, it's now Charles Leclerc up into fourth and Carlos Sainz up into fifth. Of course, with the top three remaining the same since the start, except swap Fernando Alonso in second to third and Lewis Hamilton in third up to second now. Okay. Okay. Oh. And here comes a two-way McLaren battle for 10th place between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, with the Williams of Alex Albon seemingly also involved in this little battle. So that could be interesting. And there's another fastest lap from Max Verstappen, 1 minute 17.461, I believe that was. I can't quite remember at this point. We're focusing on the Piastri-Norris battle, to be honest. Okay. On to lap 18 now. I'll admit Oscar Piastri did get close to overtaking Lando Norris there, but didn't quite get it. Oh no, it was Lando Norris chasing Oscar Piastri, it seems. But, ooh, that was insane. Okay. And then, yeah, now the pit lane incident between Hamilton and Alonso is now under investigation by the stewards. Okay. And same goes for the unsafe release incident with Lando Norris. Okay, and that's now 1 minute 16.682 seconds there from Max Verstappen for another fastest lap of the race on lap 18, coming into lap 19. Okay, and now DRS is enabled once again. So anyone within DRS range of the car in front of them will now be able to use it and hopefully get in front of them. Okay. Now on to lap 20, and again, Max Verstappen. Oh, never mind, Fernando Alonso has the fastest lap now. With 1 minute 16.575 seconds. And Oscar Piastri did go off track for a moment there, but was able to rejoin. And unfortunately, he did lose a place to Alex Albon as a result. Okay. Piastri just locked up. Right, okay. No, it seems he braked a little bit too late. Okay. Okay, now on to lap 20. Oop, Kev Magnussen radio. Okay. He needs to give a place back to Ocon, which actually it seems he has already done. Oh, and Valtteri Bottas has also now overtaken Kevin Magnussen. Lap 21 now. Fernando Alonso is still in possession of the fastest lap so far. Oh, and here comes Lando Norris, also on Kevin Magnussen, for 9th place. Okay, nothing seems to be happening at the moment. Well, at least not for this next few seconds. You never know, something could come out of the blue any moment now, but no one seems to be in DRS range at the moment except for a few back markers. So, could be a few battles towards the back of the grid, but as for the front of it, there doesn't seem to be too much going on right now. Oh. Okay. That was just okay. So I've just seen the results of the whole Magnussen Ocon incident. So of course it was to give the place back to Ocon, which obviously has already been done. Okay. Oh, and here comes Fernando Alonso to re-overtake Lewis Hamilton for the first time since the start of the race. However, I don't think Lewis Hamilton's ready to take that lying down, as it looks as if he's going to try and come back at his former teammates. Of course, Fernando Alonso was Lewis Hamilton's first teammate back in 2007 at McLaren, and it looks as if Lewis Hamilton is going to try and re-overtake him any moment now. Oh, and Alex Albon has now also overtaken Kevin Magnussen, but I'm guessing he has to give the place back and lost an additional place to Oscar Piastri. Okay, now on lap 23, and Fernando Alonso is still in possession of the fastest lap. Oh, Carlos Sainz radio. Okay, he's feeling confident in his pace, which is always a good sign for the Ferraris. Okay, lap 24 now. Oh, and there will be no further action on the Hamilton-Alonso unsafe release incident, and no further action on the Lando Norris unsafe release incident. Okay, that's interesting. Sorry about that, guys. I'm a little bit tired today. Okay, lap 24 now. We're approaching half race distance now, but we're not quite there yet. Now this race has been going on for roughly nearly just under 45 minutes at this point, and we're pushing on half race distance. So wait and see how long this race takes. Okay, that was a lap 25. Oh, and here comes Piastri to try and overtake Kevin Magnussen, but has to brake, so he can't quite get the overtake done yet. But never mind, he's done it now. And that's Oscar Piastri back up into the top 10, just behind his teammate Lando Norris. Oh, and now there's another incident with Lando Norris being investigated for driving unnecessarily slowly. Okay, that's interesting. Well, they've noted the incident anyway. It's not under investigation yet. It may not get that far, but the incident has been noted by the stewards. To what specifically they're referring, I have no idea. I've got no idea at all. Leclerc radio. Okay. Ferrari just telling Leclerc basically that they want a clean stint, and they've assured him that Carlos Sainz will not try and take fourth place from him. Wait and see how that progresses. Okay, now on to lap 27. And Fernando Alonso is still holding the fastest lap. Wow. Oh, okay, and there was Alex Albon trying to overtake Kevin Magnussen, but didn't quite get the move done. But here he comes to try it out now. And I think he may just run out of road again. Yep. He ran out of straight road. Okay. Okay, not much is happening at the... Oh, as I say that, though, Lando Norris is getting very close to Valtteri Bottas there, so this could be a potential battle evolving. Oh, and here comes Lance Stroll into the pits for his pit stop. Okay. This is going to be a 2.5 second stop for Lance Stroll there. Not bad. Okay. Verstappen radio. Right. Max is struggling for grip on his current hard tyres, so he may come into the pits soon for a stop. Oh, and there's a yellow flag in sectors 1 and 2, but it's now been cleared. Wonder what happened there. Okay, and that was Alex Albon overtaking Kevin Magnussen at long last. Oh, Carlos Sainz radio. Okay, so there was a bit of an incident between Stroll and I think that might have been Hulkenberg or Magnussen there. Okay. Okay. On to lap 30 now. Oh, Verstappen radio again. Right. Max may come into the pit soon because he's really unhappy on these tyres. Okay, the race seems to be quietening down for a moment now. Again, I imagine it's around the halfway point now, so things are going to be quiet for a little while now, but give it to the last 15 to 20 laps, things are probably going to start to go a bit chaotic again, so till about lap 50, I think things are going to be a little bit slow, unfortunately. So that means we're going to have to deal with about 20 minutes of a pretty dull race, but we'll have to wait and see. I could be wrong. Something could come out of nowhere and spice things up a lot, like Max Verstappen could have a problem, perhaps. Wait and see. Maybe Lewis Hamilton has an issue, or Fernando Alonso, or somebody else entirely. Anyway, Nico Hulkenberg just had a pit stop at 3.1 seconds, so that was pretty damn good. Oh, okay, Max Verstappen is now reporting that he's actually gaining some grip on that tyre. Okay, so it must have been going through a bit of a graining phase. Okay. And then Zhou Guan Yu into the pits as well. And his pit stop is going to be a 6.3 seconds. Woof. That's very slow there for the Alfa Romeo. Maybe that was a front wing change or just had a real big mess up on the tyres. Oof. That is very slow there for the Chinese driver. Wow. Okay, and here comes... Looks like... Is that Yuki Tsunoda on... Yeah, that's Yuki Tsunoda on Kevin Magnussen. Okay, so he's chasing him down. Okay, lap 34 now. Oh, and here comes an Alpine into the pits of Pierre Gasly. So let's see what his pit stop time is. Okay, that was a 2.3 seconds, I think that says, or 2.9. Can't quite see. Okay, lap 35 now, so end of this lap will be half race distance. Oh, Ocon radio. But it's not coming through, unfortunately. Oh, and there's another car off into the pits, and it's Yuki Tsunoda. Oh, and there's Kevin Magnussen versus Nick de Vries. Bit of contact between the two of them, and there's George Russell overtaking both of them. Oh, and there's de Vries and Magnussen off into the runoff area. Oof. Yellow flag, sector 1. Oh, and there was the Ferrari pit crew coming out with a set of tyres, but they're now going back in. Okay. Well, that was an interesting one. Okay, yep. Contact between the two of them. Then George Russell managing to sweep past both of them. There must have been an additional contact between the two of them to have them both go into the runoff area. That's really unusual for both of them to go in, so there must have been some additional contact which dragged them both into the runoff area. Okay. Okay, and here comes Kevin Magnussen into the pits. Okay, now on to lap 37. Okay, and there's now the incident between Magnussen and de Vries has been noted, so that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on if that gets investigated or not. Okay, and here comes Esteban Ocon into the pits as well. 2.5 second stop for him, and a 2.5 stop for Bottas as well, I think. Not bad. Okay, now we're on to lap 38. And here comes Sergio Perez into the pits for his first pit stop. And here comes Oscar Piastri into the pits as well. 2.3 second stop for Perez. And this will be a 2.4 second stop for Piastri. Not bad. Okay. Oh. And Lando Norris has a 5-second penalty for unsportsmanlike behaviour. Carlos Sainz is coming into the pits now. What specifically they're referring to there with Lando Norris, I don't know. Okay. Here comes Carlos Sainz in for his pit stop, as I said. Okay, and that was a 2.8 second pit stop there for Ferrari. Not bad. Okay, lap 39 now. Oh, Hamilton radio. Okay, Mercedes have just told Lewis Hamilton to start using up his tyres, and Lewis Hamilton said, yep, already on it. So Lewis Hamilton is definitely pushing now. He's trying to potentially overtake Fernando Alonso. Oh, and now Charles Leclerc's coming into pit as well. Okay, and Charles Leclerc's pit stop is going to be a 2.9 second pit stop. That's actually very decent there from the Ferrari. Okay, now on to lap 40. And Fernando Alonso is still holding on to the fastest lap of this race so far. That is insane. Okay. Okay, and here comes Alex Albon being overtaken by Sergio Perez. Oh, another Hamilton radio, and he is being told to come into the pits as well. Okay, and that was a 2.7 second stop there for Lewis Hamilton. And Lewis Hamilton's gone on to the medium tyre for the, I'm going to assume, the rest of the race. Oh. There's now a investigation going on into the De Vries Magnussen incident, which also makes a lot of sense. There was quite a lot of contact there. Oh, Alonso radio. And Fernando Alonso's been told to pit as well. Okay, now on to lap 42. 29 laps to go now. And that's 2.6 second stop for Fernando Alonso there. Not bad at all. Oh, and the fastest lap has now gone to Carlos Sainz. Never mind, make that Sergio Perez, although Carlos Sainz's is still showing, although I don't know what Perez's is now. Oh, a 1 minute 16.41 seconds for Sergio Perez there. That's pretty good. Oh, and now Max Verstappen's coming into the pits as well. Okay. Okay. And that was a 2.7 second stop for Max Verstappen. So that's also a pretty decent stop there for Red Bull. Okay. Okay. Now Sergio Perez is still holding on to the fastest lap of the race so far. Okay, now on to lap 44. Leclerc radio. Okay, Charles Leclerc is being reassured that Carlos Sainz will not try and take fourth place from him again. Oh, but however, it would appear that Pierre Gasly is not shy about taking P14 away from, I believe that is Nico Hülkenberg. Okay, now we're on to lap 45 of this race, so 26 laps to go now. Of course, the next lap will mark 25 laps to go. Oh, and that's Lewis Hamilton on the fastest lap with 1 minute 16.003 seconds. Oof, that's very quick there for Lewis Hamilton. And I would love to point out at this point that George Russell, from dropping to last place after his crash, is now back up into P8, only behind Alex Albon and Williams in 7th. Oh, Verstappen radio. Okay. I just telling Max Verstappen to be a bit careful because there are people pushing behind him, so he could be in a bit of danger. And now we're on to 25 laps left to go on lap 46. Okay. Oh, and Fernando Alonso has reclaimed the fastest lap of the race. And Lewis Hamilton has reclaimed it again. And that is a 1 minute 15.879 seconds there for Lewis Hamilton. Oof. Okay. Lap 47 now. Okay, just adjusting the volume on my headphones. In case you're wondering what I was doing then. Okay. Lap 48 now, and Lewis Hamilton's got another fastest lap with a 1 minute 15.396 seconds, so he's gone half a second up on his last fastest lap time. Oh, Fernando Alonso radio. Okay. Fernando is being told to lift and coast. He wants to know when he can stop doing that, so I think Aston Martin are getting a bit worried about fuel levels there. Okay. Oh. And he overshot one of the chicanes in the middle sector. Right. So that's how he lost a bit. So that's how he lost a bit of time to Lewis Hamilton there. And Gasly was, at one point, only 11 centimetres away from the wall of champions on the main straight. So that was very close for Pierre Gasly there. Okay, lap 49. Oh, Albon radio. Okay. And that's Fernando Alonso coming over the start-finish line. And now we're on to lap 50. Oh, replay from Yuki Tsunoda. Don't know what for, though. It was a very, very clean overtake on Nico Hülkenberg on the last lap. Wow, okay. Okay, little update here. Even McLaren don't know what unsportsmanlike behaviour Lando Norris committed to cause himself a penalty. So even McLaren are in the dark on what's happened. Oh, Hamilton radio telling Mercedes that the wind is picking up a bit. Okay, this could be interesting. Now on to lap 51. Okay, lap 52 now. Again, things should start to heat up again, probably, I'm going to guess now, in the next few laps, because, of course, we're very much getting towards the closing stages of this race now. So, yeah, probably won't be too much longer on track now, I'd imagine. Again, that's provided nothing goes wrong in the next few laps. Hopefully nothing happens, because we know that safety car did add on a little bit of time to this race earlier. Okay, George Russell is still chasing down Alex Albon for 7th place. Okay, lap 53 now. Okay. Okay, Alex Albon is still being chased down by George Russell there, so this battle could be going on for quite some time, I'd imagine. Yeah, not too much is happening right now, and I imagine, again, until lap 60, we're probably going to be in much the same position. I'd imagine, anyway. Okay, lap 55 now, so we're coming towards the end of this race now. Again, that's probably another 15 to 20 minutes to go, I would reckon. Oh, George Russell radio. Right. So George Russell is now going to have to retire this car because the brakes are wearing down quite significantly. But what a monster effort there from George Russell to get back very high up on the grid from being knocked straight down to the back. That's a big shame there for the man from Kings Lynn. But hey, it happens. Okay, lap 56, we've now got 15 laps to go. Oh, Russell radio again. Yeah. Yeah, and that's it now for George Russell for this race. Shame. Okay, so I'd imagine at this point things are going to start to heat up a little bit because, of course, we're in the last 14 laps of the race now, so obviously the time to do overtakes is beginning to run out for a lot of drivers. So I imagine in the next few laps there's a potential that desperation's going to kick in for some of these drivers quite quickly. So yeah, I think we're going to see some overtakes start to happen probably in the next few laps, I would say. Okay, Lewis Hamilton is now beginning to close up to Fernando Alonso a little bit. Okay, this is interesting. Hmm. Okay. Now on to lap 58. Okay, and now Lewis Hamilton is about 1.6 seconds behind Fernando Alonso, so he's about 6/10 of a second outside of DRS range of the Aston Martin. So Fernando may need to pick up the pace a little bit very soon to keep that Mercedes behind him. Oh, sorry guys, had a bit of low low battery warning on my phone. Hopefully it'll hold out to the end of the race. It should do by now, frankly. Okay, but right, in that case, guys, I think what I might do is in quite an unusual manner, I may cut this stream off once the race itself finishes. So I'm probably not gonna cover the actual the podium ceremony because, to be honest, not too much happens at that point. Just the national anthems as always, then the trophies and the medals. So I think I'll sign this one off once the race itself finishes in about 12 laps time. So shouldn't be too long now, guys. So yeah, I think now that I've had that low power warning, I'll probably finish this off after the end of the race itself. So yeah, just want to say in advance, thank you all for joining me on the stream. If you've liked this stream, please like the vid and subscribe to my channel, Sounding Cameron, just below the video title. And if you click the video title, you'll head into my description, at which point you'll see my link tree, which contains all my socials, as well as Roxanne's website and her YouTube. Also, as well, please comment as well, because why not? Let me know what your favourite moment of this race was, and if there was anything that I did miss in the AstCa news at the start. And lastly, please share this stream with all your friends. They can join the infinite loop of liking, subscribing, commenting, following, and sharing. And now for the last 11 laps of this race, and then I'll sign off once it's done. Okay. Should be another 15 minutes, I would reckon. Okay. That sounds about right in my head, to be fair. Okay. Oh, and the gap to from Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso is 1.6-ish seconds. Now I've got 10 laps to go here. Oh, Hamilton radio. Oh, and that could be a rear braking issue for Fernando Alonso. That could be quite interesting towards the end of this race. Okay, and the current vote split for driver of the day is Lewis Hamilton with 14%, Alex Albon with 15%, and Fernando Alonso with 16%. So the voting will close 2 laps before the end of this race. No, sorry, on the last lap. So if you want to get your votes in, do so in the next few laps. Okay. Okay, lap 62 now, so we got 9 laps left to go. Okay. It's now a 2-second gap again between Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton, so Fernando is pulling away from Lewis Hamilton a little bit now. Oh, Fernando Alonso radio. Okay, he's just been told that Hamilton's 1.9 seconds behind him, and he just said, leave it to me. So Fernando's ready to try and maintain this gap to Lewis Hamilton now. Okay, last 8 laps now. Okay, and here comes Lando Norris to still trying to overtake Valtteri Bottas, which he's been trying to do for quite a while now. Okay. Okay. 7 laps to go now. Yeah, once the actual checkered flag's flown, I'll sign this off, and then I'll see you all tomorrow with another video, and next weekend with probably an AstCa, but no F1 stream because there is no race next weekend. It's actually the weekend after in Austria, on the Red Bull Ring. Oh, and there goes Lando Norris on Valtteri Bottas. He finally manages to overtake him. But, okay. But Valtteri Bottas is coming back on Lando Norris. Okay. Oh, that was very close there between those two. Whew. Okay. Okay, lap 65 now, so we've got 6 laps left to go. And now the driver of the day vote split is now going 16% for Alonso, 17% for Hamilton, and 25% for Alex Albon. So it's looking pretty likely that Alex Albon's going to win driver of the day now, which is very much deserved, I think. Oh, Max Verstappen replay. Oh, and radio from Max. Ugh. Okay, lap 66 now, so we got 5 laps to go. Okay, so I'll be on stream for another 5-ish minutes now, I reckon. Yeah, so far this has actually been a pretty entertaining race. Of course, we've had this little lull towards the end here in terms of action, but that happens sometimes in an F1 race. Okay, Lance Stroll replay. Oh, and Max Verstappen's replay was him slightly overshooting the curb on the final chicane. So yeah, that's what happened there. Okay, and Lance Stroll went very wide there on the hairpin. Okay, right, 4 laps to go now. Oh, Lando Norris radio. Oh, that rear wing on the Alpine is loose. Oh, goodness. Whoa. That's what Lando Norris has just reported. And yep, can confirm that is looking very loose indeed. Oof. Oh, Lando Norris radio again. Okay, 3 laps to go. Oof. Okay. Any moment now, we'll be on to the funny number lap. You know, oh, and here it is, lap 69. Nice. Oh, 21, but I've got the mind of a child. What can I say? I'm a child, okay? Leave me alone. Okay. Okay, so we're on 2 laps to go now. Oh, and Sergio Perez is in the pits. That's unusual as hell. Yeah, probably for the fastest lap attempt, I'd imagine. To steal it off Lewis Hamilton, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, because Lewis has held on to that for a very long time now. And that was a 2.2 second stop for Perez there. Oof. Okay, and now we are on to the final lap of the race. Okay. So this will be Max Verstappen's 41st win, equaling Ayrton Senna's win record, and this will also be Red Bull's 100th win in Formula One. So, double celebration there for Max Verstappen and Red Bull in the next minute and a half or so. So, a very preeminent congratulations to Red Bull and Max Verstappen there. But I'm sure that those records will be coming any moment now. Here comes Max Verstappen around the hairpin. Okay. Here we go. And now Max Verstappen comes home to win the Canadian Grand Prix in 2023. And I shall just quickly stay on for the rest of the drivers to come around for the end of their laps. Okay, and then Fernando Alonso comes home in P2, Lewis Hamilton in P3. Okay. I'll just wait for all the rest of the cars to come around to finish their laps, and then I'll sign off. Okay. Oh. And Lando Norris isn't quite able to get around Esteban Ocon with the wobbly rear wing. Hamilton still holds the fastest lap, it seems, for now. Is Perez going to be able to fix that, though? Oh, but here comes Lando Norris trying to overtake Esteban Ocon, and he just about does it. And Perez also manages to take the fastest lap, but Norris has to bail out of his attempt on Esteban Ocon. Okay, and there's Perez with the fastest lap of a 1 minute 14.481 seconds. Wow! Okay. And that's it for the stream, guys. So thank you all for joining me today. I will see you all tomorrow with another video, and next weekend with another AstCast, but not another race because there isn't one on. Bye, everyone!